Unmatched is famous for having an extensive roster of playable characters, but with so many matchups available, it is extremely difficult to play them all. In this series, we will be analyzing a variety of matchups in detail and hopefully discover some hidden gems. Join me as we explore the latest matchup of the month. If you're a fan of the channel, consider supporting me on Patreon. For as little as $1 per month, you can help me continue to bring you premier Unmatched content. Unlock exclusive rewards by becoming a patron today.
What's up guys, Zero Skater here, and we're back for another matchup of the month for October, this time featuring Annie Christmas versus Luke Cage. And this one is going to be a brawl, I'm sure. So I'm really looking forward to it, but if you missed the last episode, make sure you check that one out. It was She-Hulk versus Elektra, which definitely was Battle of the Scumbags in a way, but it's always fun to see Elektra lose, right? So it was pretty interesting. If you want to go check it out, there was tons of funny little edits too you'll find from Darkblade, my new editor. So I'm sure he's going to put his own little flavor on this one as well, which I'm loving it. So I hope you guys are too. Leave some comments down below if you enjoy all the new edits. But anyways, I can't wait to get into this one. It's going to be a slugfest because Annie Christmas and Luke Cage both hit extremely hard, and they both have kind of small health totals to begin with. So we're going to see how this one goes. Annie being one of the awesome new fighters from the Tales to Amaze set, which really is an amazing set. I mean, it's got 4 super unique characters. It's got the co-op mode, so tons of action packed into that one little box. So I highly recommend getting that if you don't have your own. I believe they have been shipping out. People have them in hand, so it's a great time to be an Unmatched fan, and I can't wait to test these fighters out some more. Hoping to stream some more too on my Twitch channel, but we'll see how free time permitting. But anyways, can't wait to test out Annie in this matchup. So before we get into it, as always guys, be sure to attack the like button if you enjoy the video, and subscribe for more Unmatched content. And with that said, let's not wait any longer. We'll jump on over and check out Annie Christmas versus Luke Cage.
Alright, so here we are on Vorpal board as always to talk about our first fighter being Annie Christmas. So once again, Annie being one of the newest fighters out of the awesome Tales to Amaze set. She is a melee fighter with 14 starting health and a move of 2. And her sidekick, Charlie, is ranged with a starting health of 8. So pretty tanky sidekick. And Annie's ability is Necklace of Pearls, which is add +2 to the value of Annie's attacks if she has less health than the defender. Super cool ability because it's not always online, right? It's only online if your health is lower than the opponent's. So it's kind of a comeback mechanic, which is kind of what Annie's all about, as we'll see when we get into some of her cards. But it's a super fun mechanic to play around health totals because it kind of disincentivizes the opponent from attacking you at least big, because if they throw a big attack and you take the damage, and now all of a sudden you're much more of a threat if your health total drops below theirs. And so they want to kind of hit you for little small amounts of damage or small attacks that won't deal much, but then they're not dealing any damage to you, right? They're going to have to damage you eventually in order to win the game. So it's all about timing with Annie, and when do they throw the big hits? When does Annie maybe want to take attacks undefended just purposefully to lower her health total below the opponent's? And it's just a lot of fun. So let's get into the deck. The first card, definitely one of the key cards. I believe this is pronounced Lanyap. Maybe I'm wrong. You can correct me in the comments or make fun of me or whatever.
Lanyap.
But it's a 5 value red, and it says immediately you deal up to 2 damage to Annie to draw that many cards. And this may cause her special ability to apply. That's just a clarification, just to be clear there. It's immediate, right, which happens before combat step. So if you are at, let's say in this case, you're at 14 starting health, Luke is at 13 starting health, you go up to him, you throw a Lanyap attack, you use this immediate effect to deal yourself 2 damage, bringing you down to 12, and he's at 13. So now this will be a 7 value attack during combat, which is massive. That is so strong, and the ability to draw 2 cards gives you crazy tempo there with hand advantage, and you can just pressure your opponent like mad. So Lanyap is just definitely a key card in the deck. It's super fun to play around, and Interesting to note, it is up to 2 damage, so you don't have to deal any damage, and you could choose to only deal 1 damage and draw 1 card, depending on the situation. So super versatile with that, and 3 copies makes it really, really strong. Next card, another very key card, is Mississippi Queen. It says immediately, damage cannot reduce Annie's health below 1 this turn. That is insane. So with 3 copies of this, you have a ton of survivability. This will guarantee that you live for that turn once you play it, because again, it says Annie's health can't go below 1 this turn. So it doesn't matter what else happens. If they attack first into this and you get this effect, and they want to use some auto damage to finish you off, it doesn't. Your health is going to stay at 1. And that's just crazy. So it's not this combat. It's the whole rest of the turn, and it's not just combat damage, it's effect damage, it's everything. So what a crazy card, Mississippi Queen. Super cool art as well with the crocodiles in the background there. But this card is incredibly powerful. It will guarantee you live for another turn so that you can have a counterattack opportunity on your opponent and hopefully lethal them before they are able to kill you on the following turn, since it leaves you at 1 health, which is very vulnerable. Next card being Slick Talker. It is a 3-value defense. Immediately, Annie and Charlie may swap spaces. If they do, then your other fighter is now the defender. So this is really, really good. It's like the double identity we see in Black Widow's deck, if you're familiar with that one. But either the hero or the sidekick can use this, which is what makes it so strong. And then the other fighter is going to swap in and become the defender. So if you're trying to protect Charlie and they're going after him, Charlie can play Slick Talker, swap into Annie. Now all of a sudden, Annie is the one taking the damage, which might surprise your opponent, putting Annie's health total below theirs when they weren't meaning to do that because they were attacking Charlie for a reason. Now all of a sudden, Annie is smacking them for a 7 with the Lanyap. So very, very powerful effect right here. Super cool. Next card, Keep Your Hands to Yourself. 3-value versatile for Annie. After combat, move each fighter in the combat up to 2 spaces. So nothing too crazy, but moving each of the fighters up to 2 is putting a gap of 4 spaces in between you, which is quite a bit. It's enough to make pretty much anybody have to boost if they want to come in and attack you for a counterattack. So that's really nice, having the movement. Also, you can choose the order of which you move the fighters. So if you were like in a pin, you can push them back and then move yourself out. Or maybe there are some cool scenarios where you can pull the opponent in and then move you after that to set up a pin. It's only 2 spaces of movement, but you might be able to find some neat little things you can do with this card. And with the ability, of course, online, it's a 5-value attack, so that is pretty deadly. Next card, Striking Beauty, 1-value versatile. Nothing too great there, but after combat, you deal 1 damage to the opposing fighter. So that auto damage is non-conditional. It's going to deal the effect damage no matter what. But if you won the combat, you're going to deal 2 damage instead. So this is the regroup of the deck, essentially, but instead of doing draw, it does auto damage to the opponent. So super cool card, and it doesn't seem like too much, but when you get that +2 on your attacks, then it becomes a 3-value attack. So they can't take it undefended. They If they defend it with a 2, they're going to take 3 damage, which is massive. And granted, 2 is not likely to be a defense value, but you're still getting damage, at least 1 from this anyways, especially in this matchup against Luke. Auto damage is the key. So this is a very important card in the matchup. Also interesting to note is that this is a 3 boost, one of just a few in the deck, so that is definitely good to know. Next card is Quite a Pair. So this card is their feint, essentially, but it's a very conditional feint, which is super cool to see. But it's 3-value instead of a 2. But it says immediately you may reveal 2 cards from your hand with the same name. And if you do, cancel all effects on your opponent's card. So either Annie or Charlie can use this, which is pretty strong, but you have to reveal 2 cards with the same name, which is kind of hard to do, seeing as most cards in your deck are 2 to 3 copy cards. Even if it's a 3 copy card, the chances that you have 2 of them in your hand at a time is pretty slim. If you know you're in a matchup where you really need cancels, you're going to have to plan for this card and purposefully hold back certain cards so that you can have that pair in your hand for when you need it. But really cool card. Love the theming of it with like the poker cards and whatnot. It's just super cool. Next card, Better Together. This is an insane card. There's 4 copies, which is ridiculous. That's so many copies in this deck, and it's a 4-value versatile, which we already know is like a max value block, which is super good to begin with. And not only that, but it says after combat, if your fighter is adjacent to a friendly fighter, your fighter and each friendly fighter adjacent to them recover 1 health. So that is just insane. Like, So good, so good. Because both Annie and Charlie in a 1v1, if they're next to each other when this is played, they're each going to heal one. And that doesn't seem too crazy, but it's a 4 value versatile block as well. So you're probably netting health into almost any attack if you defend with this, and that's just crazy. And with 4 copies, that's so insane, right? That's a pretty decent healing potential, up to 4 for each of your fighters. You're at 14 and 8 to begin with. If you add 4 onto each, you're looking at 18 and 12, which would be a combined health total of 30, which is crazy, especially when you consider that you have Mississippi Queens that will guarantee you live for the rest of the turn. So Better Together is just crazy good. Loving the art on this card. I love everything about this card, especially that it's a 4 copy card. So Better Together, when they're together in a pair, it lets you play quite a pair. So just super cool thematically, amazingly good card. Love everything about this. Next card is going to be Long Shot. So not quite as impressive as Better Together, but not to be underestimated because it's a 3 value versatile that says during combat, if the opposing fighter is not adjacent to your fighter, this card's value is a 5 instead. What that means is with Charlie being ranged, he can throw this as an attack from ranged and it'll be a 5 value attack, which is already really strong. But also you can defend with this card if you're against another ranged fighter who is attacking you from range. You can defend as a 5 value defense, which is super, super cool. So just the versatility of this card, quite good. Then we're going to see a couple of Charlie cards. First one being Bottom Dealing. So it is a 3 value attack. It says during combat, reveal the bottom card of your deck, and you increase the value of this card by the boost value of the revealed card, and then you choose to put the revealed card on either the top or the bottom of your deck, your choice. So being able to get some information about what is on the bottom, if it's a key card like maybe a Lanyap or a Mississippi Queen, you might want to bring it to the top of your deck so that you can see it sooner. And then also the boost values matter, right? So if you do see a 3 boost on the bottom, you might actually want to keep it on the bottom just so that your other copy of Bottom Dealing is going to guarantee to be a 6 value unless canceled because you already know the boost value of your bottom card. And if it's a low boost value, that would mean it's a Better Together or a Long Shot. Those are the only 1 value boosts, and they're both quite good cards so that if it's a 1 boost, just pull it to the top of your deck. You'll be pretty happy to draw into that card, and then the next Bottom Dealing might hit for a bigger value. But this is just a really cool card. I love how Charlie is all about, wheeling and dealing with the poker cards and everything. Super cool. And the other Charlie card is called the Turn in the River. Yet another poker reference here. Pretty simple, 2 value versatile. After combat, you draw 2 cards. Nothing too crazy, but hey, it's kind of another regroup, but better. It's like a little dragon from Bruce that doesn't trigger the 6 value, so it's perfectly fine to draw. It gives you some draw power. It's another 3 boost, which is important, and it's just another defense that Charlie can use if they're really targeting him. So pretty good overall. A couple of schemes to round it out. We're going to see Captain's Orders, which is place Annie in any empty space in her zone, and then you place another friendly fighter in an empty space in Annie's zone, and you gain an action. So, a lot to digest here, but you're going to warp Annie anywhere within her zone. Then you're going to pull Charlie or any other friendly fighter if you're in a 2v2 or whatnot, but in a 1v1, warp Annie in her zone, and then pull Charlie adjacent to Annie. Actually, it's not even adjacent to Annie. So warp Annie in the zone, warp Charlie in Annie's new zone. So that can help you do some kind of cool maneuvers where it'll set up a double attack opportunity for Charlie. If Annie is in a dual zone space, you warp to another space in either of those zones, and then you place Charlie in maybe a dual zone space as well, and him being ranged, you can cover a lot of the map really easily with this card, and you gain the actions, so you're still ready to throw out 2 attacks, and that can be pretty deadly because Charlie is kind of a tank, both on offense and defense. So Captain's Orders is a quite good movement scheme. And last but not least, we're going to see a few more pearls. It just says deal 2 auto damage to each opposing fighter adjacent to Annie. 3 copies of this means 6 auto damage from schemes in the deck, which is really, really good. So what Annie generally is going to want to try and do is get her ability online early, smack you super hard, bring your health total down to 6, and then she can just finish it off with the 3 copies of pearls here, and you can just keep yourself living with Mississippi Queens to give you the time needed to pull off all of these schemes for the lethal. That's probably a pretty typical game plan for Annie if I had to guess, and this is just really good, especially in matchups like Yananga where you have multiple sidekicks, because this deals the auto damage to everybody adjacent to Annie, not just the one opposing fighter. So really, really strong auto damage card right here. And that's going to do it for Annie's deck. So a lot of really powerful cards, but nothing too insane damage-wise. Other, outside of Annie's ability, like Charlie does have some really hard-hitting cards, but if you can get rid of Charlie pretty early, then Annie doesn't have a ton of damage output, unless, of course, her ability's online, because then you're getting that constant +2 like Big Alice does, and that's just crazy good. So it's really all about manipulating your health total around what your opponent is at, and that is just super cool because, again, you see these schemes, right? A few more pearls, which you want to deal that auto damage to your opponent because that's great. But then if you put their health below yours, now your attacks aren't really outputting much damage. So it's all about timing yet again. And it's a super fun little mini game to play, and super unique deck so far. Even though she fits in kind of that brawler category, she's still very unique from, apart from fighters like Bigfoot and Achilles that we've seen so far. So that'll do it for Annie Christmas. Let's move on to the next fighter, being Luke Cage. All right, so our next fighter is going to be Luke Cage from the Marvel sets. And Luke, I think, is kind of a he's polarizing, let's say. I think a lot of people really like Luke, and then a lot of people really hate him because of his ability, which seems a bit unfair on the surface, but after you actually play with and against Luke, I think he is totally balanced in a really interesting way. So, what is Luke? Well, he is a melee fighter with 13 starting health. He has a move of 2, which is not that great. Misty Knight is the sidekick, who is a ranged sidekick with a health of 6. So very similar stats overall to Annie, being a melee hero with low starting health, only move 2, but then you have a ranged sidekick that is pretty tanky. Now, the special ability for Luke is that Luke Cage takes 2 less combat damage from attacks. And so when defending, Luke Cage wins combat if he takes no damage, even if he didn't play a card. So even when he doesn't defend with a card, he still has a 2 baseline defense value, which is really, really cool and very, very good. So much kind of like the opposite of Annie, where she's getting +2 to all of her attacks. Luke is getting +2 to all of his defenses. So that kind of cancels out Annie's ability there, which is really interesting for this matchup in particular. But in general, Luke can be very, very strong against low damage output fighters that they have low printed values and they rely a lot on their effects, or just kind of death by 1,000 cuts where they just keep chipping away at the opponent. That doesn't work very well against Luke. So fighters like Robin Hood, Highway Robbery normally full blanks a card and deals 2 damage through unless it's fainted. Against Luke Cage, it literally does nothing because he can just take the attack undefended. It doesn't matter because that 2 auto defense can't be canceled by the Highway Robbery. So Robin Hood is really bad against Luke. Genie is really bad against Luke because he also chips away at people with a lot of little attacks. So anybody like that is really going to struggle against Luke's ability here. But that's not all Luke is about. He's just not he's not a infinitely defensive tank that just is going to outlast you and never die. Definitely not the case in most matchups, which makes him really interesting. So let's get into his deck here. First signature card here is just Sweet Christmas. It's a flat 6 value attack. There's 2 copies in the deck, which is almost rivaling of Bigfoot's Logs. So very, very strong card there, just a smack for some big damage. Next card is going to be Hero for Hire. I call this one the cell phone. It's a 3 value attack. During combat, you may boost this attack. So it is a straight up second shot from Medusa's deck, not the Muldoon version because it's the printed 3 value, not the printed 2, which is much, much better because even if it's canceled by a feint, yeah, you can't boost it, but you didn't have to use an extra card and you still dealt the damage over the feint. So pretty fine there overall. Next card is going to be Get Paid. So a Luke specific 4 value attack after combat. If you won the combat, you draw 2 cards. So it's pretty easy to win combat with a 4 unless they max value block it. Then they stop your draw power, but otherwise you are going to draw 2 cards. Of course, a feint will stop the draw as well, but then they're taking 2 damage over the feint, which you're perfectly fine with. But this is just a great tempo card, right? It's a decently strong attack you can throw out and maybe get some card draw off of it to really put some more pressure on the opponent and make them not want to counterattack you because they want to rather run away and kind of get on even ground in terms of hand size. So Get Paid is pretty decent. This card is where it's at, though. Commanding Impact we've seen in Sinbad's deck before, but in this deck, it's a 3 copy card, whereas Sinbad only had 1 copy. And we know how strong it is with Sinbad, mainly, though, because of the feint mind games for his deck. But with Luke, it's crazy because Misty can throw this from range because it's an any. So a ranged flat 5 value attack, it's even better than a ranged momentous shift, right? Because shift can be canceled with a feint. Commanding Impact, you're just smacking super hard over anything, and you also get the card draw to boot. So that's just super good. Commanding Impact is an insanely good card, one of the best cards in the game, and so to have this be an any that Misty can throw from range is super deadly. And the card draw is really going to help, again, with your tempo and just putting the pressure on the opponent. And the next card, definitely one of the most important cards in the deck in many matchups, is Still Standing, a 4 value any. After combat, if you won the combat, choose 2 cards in your discard pile and shuffle them back into your deck. So that is crazy recursion here. Now, it is conditional upon winning combat, which makes this the most balanced, I think, of all the recursion cards in the game at the moment. Because if they want to cancel it with a feint, okay, they're still taking 2 damage. They cut off your cycle, but they're taking the 2 damage at least. If they max value block, that's their best case scenario. Um, but you can't block everything with max value blocks, right? You only have a limited quantity of them, and with how many big attacks Luke can throw, you're always going to want a max value block against this guy, and you just eventually you might just run out and the Still Standing, you're going to have no choice but to let him get the cycles. And if you are letting Luke recycle cards with Still Standing, you're probably losing, honestly, because not only does he increase his deck size so he can do better in fatigue and force the initiative onto you to approach him, and whenever you have to approach Luke, it's not a good time because he has, as we'll see, some really good defense options, and then you're just sitting duck right next to him for him to double attack you with things like the Sweet Christmas. So it's just a really not a great situation to have to approach Luke. You want to make him approach you instead. And Still Standing is really what's going to force the initiative onto the opponent if you can trigger this card. And keep in mind that you can use Still Standing to cycle in the other copy of the Still Standing if it was already in the discard pile to have sort of an infinite loop. And that's how Luke can beat fighters like Electra or Wukong. Still Standing is a key there, but in any matchup, not only does it help with the initiative and the deck count, but you're just getting back really good cards like Sweet Christmas. You know, having extra copies of 6s in your deck is crazy, crazy good. So Still Standing is just a standout card all around. Next card, speaking of standout cards, we have Trash Talk. It's only a 2 value defense, but remember with his ability, this is essentially a 4 value defense. And it says immediately cancel all effects on your opponent's card, much like a feint. And after combat, if you won the combat, you end the turn, which is insane. We've never seen an effect like that before this card. And so a 4 value feint that also ends their turn if you win the combat is just insane, right? Uh, oh man, this card is just so threatening. If Luke ever comes up and smacks you, and you want to attack him back, a lot of times when fighters come up to you and hit, you want to do a counterattack first action and then move away as your second action. That's super risky with Trash Talk because if you're not throwing a 5 or higher printed value attack, it can't be a boostable, remember, because this is just going to cancel it. So unless you're throwing a really big printed value as your first action attack, you got to be concerned about Trash Talk just ending your turn, and then you're stuck in place right next to him for him to just smack you some more, which is really, really scary. So another thing to note is that this does cancel all of your opponent's after combat abilities, I'll say. So things like Robin Hood, who gets to hop back after attacking. It doesn't work because Trash Talk just ends the turn. Now, effects that happen at the end of the turn do still work. So effects like Moon Knight swapping forms, Bigfoot having his optional card draw, or Bruce Lee having his optional move back ability, those things will still trigger because Trash Talk essentially sends you to the end phase of the turn. But any after combat abilities, like I mentioned Robin Hood, or even Achilles, when he wins the combat, he draws a card. It wouldn't trigger. I guess with Achilles, it's kind of irrelevant because if you're winning the combat, the Trash Talk isn't ending the turn. But whatever, you get what I'm saying. Any abilities that are after combat will not trigger. It proceeds to the end phase of the turn. Just a crazy, crazy effect, and this card is super strong. Also important to note that it is an any, so Misty can use it as a standard feint if she needs to. And remember, you can always cycle extra back with Still Standing if you find the need. So Trash Talk is ridiculous. Moving on, we see Power Man, another really strong defense, only a printed 2, but again, that's like a 4 for Luke. After combat, move the opposing fighter up to 3 spaces, and you may move them through other opposing fighters, and you deal a damage to them and each opposing fighter they moved through. So really good against fighters with 1 health sidekicks because you can push the sidekicks through each other and kill off multiples at once. Just a really good card too, being a 4 value, which is max value block, giving you some movement to move the opposing fighter, maybe into a pin situation, maybe just away from you so that you can back off and put more distance between you two, and it gives you at least 1 auto damage to the opponent as well. So Power Man is a crazy good card overall. And the next card, Luke Cage specific Skin Like Titanium, a 0 value block, which again is like a 2 for Luke. After combat, if you lost the combat, you deal damage to the opposing fighter equal to the amount of combat damage you took. So it is dealing auto damage equal to the amount of combat damage you take, so that you're both going to take an even amount of damage there. So it's an even trade, your health for their health, which can be pretty scary for Luke because he doesn't have a lot of starting health and he has no healing in his deck. But a lot of times it's really a key card to him winning because Luke isn't trying to usually outlast the opponent in fatigue. He's just trying to smack you really hard and kill you before you kill him. So lowering both fighters' health totals, hopefully the opponent's down to a lethal range. Even if you're in a lethal range yourself as Luke, if you're throwing the next attack, being a Sweet Christmas, and you're killing them before their turn comes back around, it doesn't matter. So Skin Like Titanium is really good for getting the opponent into those lethal ranges, so definitely a key card for Luke. Next up, Regroup. It's a standard regroup. After combat, draw a card. If you won the combat, you draw 2 instead, except, again, with Luke's ability, this is a defensive 3 value regroup, so it's much easier to defend with this and draw 2 cards, which is quite good for hand advantage. But not only that, it's a 3 boost value regroup, which is unheard of and is really important when you have a card like the Hero for Hire. So Luke rings the cell phone, he throws the regroup into the boost, he's got a 6 value attack right there. So if the opponent didn't faint, there's even more 6s to add into this already ridiculously offensive powered deck. So best regroup in the game, bar none. Then we see Daughter of the Dragon. We're moving on to a couple of Misty Knight cards. So Versatile 2, during combat, if Misty is adjacent to the opposing fighter, the value of this card is a 6 instead. Really, really strong. Very similar in art style and effect to the Little Dragon from Bruce Lee, which is super cool. But Daughter, as long as Misty's adjacent, it's a 6. Now, really important because it sets up some great mind games when you put Misty adjacent to the opponent and then attack. Even though you could have attacked them from range, you go melee because it puts them in a weird situation where they want to feint if it's Daughter of the Dragon because that'll full cancel it, but they don't want to feint into your commanding impact and take 3. Uh, so that's where the mind games really come in, similar to the Sinbad deck. Daughter of the Dragon makes that possible. And if they throw a max value block, wanting to, block the commanding impact, well, you just threw a 6 over their 4, so you'd still deal 2 damage, and you're totally okay with that. And you can also, of course, use this on defense for Misty when you're against a melee fighter, like Annie, who might be smacking you for a 7. Well, Daughter of the Dragon 6 value defense, pretty dang good. So this is a crazy good card. One of the reasons why Misty is such a valuable sidekick. Pushback is the next card for Misty. Yet another 2 value versatile. Nothing crazy values for this one, but after combat, you get to move the opposing fighter up to 3 spaces. So it's good board control. It's nothing insane, but it's a rending shot that's a versatile, so that's pretty nice. And again, very importantly, it's a 3 boost value, so even if Misty dies off, you can utilize that boost value for boosting your cell phones. So pretty dang good overall. And then Got My Back is a blue card for Misty, only a 1 value, which is very low. But immediately Misty may swap with Luke, and if she does, Luke Cage is now the new defender. And of course, remember, if Luke is the defender, this 1 value is actually a 3 value. So it's really cool to see swap defenses being added more and more into Unmatched, and both Annie and Luke have them, or I should say Misty, but that's really important because if you're going after your opponent's sidekick and you really want to, they want to keep the sidekick around, these swaps help immensely. And having, a 3 value defense for Luke is just fine, and it's really going to help Misty survive. So pretty good card here. And last but not least, the only scheme in the deck is Where's My Money? So Luke really wants his money. You better pay up. And what he does is that he just goes, place Luke Cage adjacent to the nearest opposing fighter, and you gain an action. So it warps adjacent to them, ready to make a double attack turn. That's amazing, right? And there's 2 copies in the deck, and you can cycle even more sometimes with the still standings if you need it. And the only counterplay to this card is that it is the nearest opposing fighter. So if they're paying attention to that and playing around it, they can make sure that they have the fighter that they're okay with you attacking closer to you, and the fighter they're trying to protect further back so that you can't get to him. but that does let you use Where's My Money for Luke to hop behind the fighter they're using to block with, and then maybe just take a single maneuver up and hit the fighter in the back that they're trying to protect. So Where's My Money is a really, really good card overall for positioning. It's very important for Luke, especially because he doesn't have a ton of really high boost values, and he is a melee move too. So after Misty dies off, you're pretty immobile. So Where's My Money definitely helps you still stay in the game. And that's going to be Luke's deck overall. Again, he is definitely a bruiser. He's just looking to kill you before you kill him. Still Standing is not necessarily used to win in Fatigue because he does, again, have low starting health and is very vulnerable to fatigue damage and auto damage. So he doesn't necessarily want to take the game to Fatigue, but Still Standing is more about forcing the initiative onto the opponent, seeing as you both can't just sit back because if he has the deck lead, they're going to have to approach. And that's where Luke wants you to be. He wants you to be coming at you, coming at him rather, so he can trash talk your attack, end your turn, and smack you with some sweet Christmases, commanding impacts, and heroes for hire, and just beat your face in. So it's going to be definitely a boxing match here. So let's talk about just a few key interactions that we should expect to see in this matchup before we get into the games. All right, so the first interaction I want to point out, of course, involves Trash Talk, Luke's key card in his deck, probably the most signature card he has and the most impactful, and something that every opponent going up against Luke has to play around and take into consideration. So, Trash Talk is amazingly good in this matchup, as it is in most matchups, but especially in this one, because if Annie does not have her +2 damage ability, the only card in the entire deck that will beat over the Trash Talk is the Lanyap. So Annie has to be very careful if she's attacking Luke when she does not have her ability online because Trash Talk is incredibly threatening then. And if Annie does have her ability online, then she doesn't have to worry so much about the Trash Talk. But, um, it's all about that ability and the health totals that they're going to have to play around. And interesting to note is that Annie starts without her ability because she has a higher starting health of 14, whereas Luke starts at 13. So a great play for Annie would be to go up and attack Luke first action with a Lanyap and use its ability here, its effect, to immediately deal 2 damage to Annie, putting her down to 12 and bumping the Lanyap up to a 7 value attack right off the bat. It's a great start for her, but of course, if Luke throws the Trash Talk, Defender resolves first, so that will cancel the Lanyap's immediate effect, and it will just be a 5 over a 4. Luke will take 1 damage only, going down to 12. That's a Lanyap gone, and now Annie is still ahead in the health totals, so her ability's not online, so Luke doesn't really have to be worried. And when Annie's ability's not online, Luke can be kind of okay even just taking attacks because they're not going to be that big unless they're the other Lanyaps. And Lanyap is mostly utilized when you either are already at a lower health total, or you can use the 2 auto damage to yourself to bring you to a lower health total, because you want to be throwing these for 7s, because if you're not, you're really limiting your damage output. So Trash Talk is really, really important here. It'll cancel everything except the Lanyap, but even if the Lanyap is going over the Trash Talk, if Annie's expecting to get her effect, she won't. It slows down the card draw. So I expect this to be a very, very important interaction, especially in the early stages of the game. And then let's talk another interaction with the Lanyap. We have the Skin Like Titanium, of course. Annie wants to hit you really big, but then if you accidentally hit into a Skin Like Titanium at the wrong time and you have a 7 into a 2 and you each take 5, yeah, that hurts Luke a lot and might put him within lethal range of the Pearl auto damage schemes, but you also might just be in lethal range to Luke's big attacks. So that's a very, very scary interaction. You definitely, both players need to play around this because it's threatening from either side. And if you throw a huge attack into a Skin Like Titanium at the wrong time, you might get mega punished for it. And the next interaction is one of the most interesting to me, at least. And I know I have all defense cards up here on the screen, which is a little weird, but basically, you know how Annie Christmas has the Mississippi Queen, and it's going to keep her alive, but only at 1 health. And what that means is that if Luke can pressure Annie really quickly early in the game and just throw some really big attacks and get a ton of damage in, if Annie is forced to play her Mississippi Queens before Luke is within a lethal attack range, then Annie can just die to either a Power Man or a skin like Titanium defense from Luke. So that's really crazy because yeah, Mississippi Queen keeps her alive at 1, but if she throws an attack into a Power Man, the 1 damage after combat from the Power Man will kill off Annie if she attacks Luke with anything at all, other than maybe that cancel card that she has that's really situational. So that's just crazy. You'd have to lethal Luke over the top of a Power Man in order to be able to win. So that means you could throw your biggest attack being a 7 over a 4. So Luke would have to be at 3 health or less by the time you're playing Mississippi Queen. Otherwise, if Luke is more than 3 health when you play your Mississippi Queen and get put down to 1, you're in a really, really dangerous position because you can't safely attack into a Power Man. And a skin like Titanium is very similar, except it means Luke has to be at a higher health threshold because if you throw a 7 into a 2 and Luke is at 5 or less, Luke will die. Annie will die as well, but because Annie was the attacker, she will be declared the winner since she was turn player. So if Luke can get Annie down to 1 and play a Mississippi Queen, force out the Queen, while he's above 5 health, then either of these two cards will represent an automatic guaranteed lethal onto Annie if she attacks him at all. So that puts her in a really awkward position where she's either going to have to just be attacking with Charlie to try and find her damage, or try to just survive longer with maybe other Mississippi Queens and find her auto damage schemes to finish off Luke, or to at least get him into that health threshold where she can then lethal attack over the top of Power Man or Skin before she dies to the auto damage from their after combats. So again, all about the health totals and some really interesting positions that these fighters can be put in because of the way all of these defense cards work. And then another funny little Mississippi Queen interaction here is that, yes, it stops Annie from dying for the rest of the turn, and because of that, if they throw a second attack in that same turn after the Mississippi Queen is triggered, Annie's probably not going to want to waste a card to defend, seeing as she can't go any lower in HP anyways. So in that case, Luke can throw either a still standing or a get paid and almost guarantee that he's going to win the combat and pull off their effects. Still standing, getting the 2 cards cycled back into the deck if you need, or get paid just kind of swapping itself for 2 new cards from your deck if you have a bad hand, or maybe you're just looking for those, like I said, the Skin Like Titanium or Power Man guaranteed lethal defenses. Maybe you just want to swap this red card looking for those blues, you know. So that's just a really funny interaction. I don't know if that's going to actually come up because that does mean that you are putting yourself vulnerable to Annie, who has her ability online, most likely because she's down to 1 health. So unless you're also down to 1 health, which means you're dead to anything. So yeah, it's just a pretty vulnerable spot for Luke, but we might see a situation where he wants to guarantee to get one of these effects over a queen. All right, and the next interaction I want to point out is just the long shot and how effective that can be against Misty, because a lot of times she wants to throw these really big attacks from range, like the commanding impact. But in this matchup, Misty is probably going to want to stay up close rather than hitting from range, because not only will that let her trigger the Daughter of the Dragon for a 6 value attack, but it means your commanding won't be met by an easy 5 value defense from the long shot since you're throwing an attack from range. So I think definitely Misty wants to be up close, but that also makes her more vulnerable to counterattacks, because if it's against Annie herself, then you went up and attacked with a big attack, you likely put Annie's health a little bit lower, and it might be below Luke's, and then Annie's going to smack Misty super hard. And without Misty, things definitely get a lot harder for Luke. I think in this matchup, both sidekicks are very, very valuable, and they're both pretty good at sticking around if you're trying, but being put into these vulnerable situations by going adjacent might be a little sketchy for Misty, but it's probably worth it for the damage output. So it'll be interesting how we see the sidekicks interact in this one. And the last interaction I want to point out real quick is better together on offense, because if Annie gets into that weird situation like I mentioned where she's at 1 HP because she's hanging alive from the Mississippi Queen and she wants to try to get out of that 1 HP lethal range, you'd want to attack with better together, right, to get the healing. But you can't safely do that into either Luke or Misty because they both have movement effects here. Power Man being the movement effect that will actually just kill you regardless because Defender resolves first, dealing that one last lethal damage before the offense can get the healing. But not only that, but Power Man just in general, even if Better Together is thrown on offense without being at 1 health for Annie, Power Man's going to break up break up the adjacency, and prevent the healing, which is really good. Not only does it prevent the healing, but it deals a damage as well to both of them because you can move into the other and then one over and then one more over. So there's a gap in between the two, and each of them take a damage instead of healing a damage like they were thinking was going to happen. And then Misty has the pushback, which isn't quite as good as the Power Man, of course. She's going to take 2 damage in the process, but she can still, like I said, split up the two fighters so that you can prevent that healing on offense. So it if Annie gets down to that weird lethal spot with the Mississippi Queen, there's not really much she can do to get around it, and so it's going to be really, really cool to see what happens if that comes up. So that's about it for the card interactions, but I'll give a couple of final thoughts before we actually get into the games. So overall, I expect it to be a very even matchup. It's going to be a lot of back and forth. I think it's going to look something like Annie doesn't have her ability at the start, so Luke goes up and smacks her for big damage. She plays a low defense or maybe even takes the hit, who knows, but gets her ability online, smacks Luke back really hard, who then takes damage, who then it shuts off Annie's ability, but then Luke has to attack back, and then it turns back on the ability, and then she smacks hard again, turns it off, and I expect it to just kind of flip flop back and forth like that until one of them is able to kill the other first. And that'll be really interesting because I assume the sidekicks play a very big role in this one because not only are they really tanky and they can get in the way defensively, but they have a lot of offensive power, both of them. So I think that's going to be a huge factor. Whoever can kill off the opponent's sidekick first is probably in a great spot because then you have a 2-on-1 situation. And neither of these fighters are the most mobile when their sidekicks die off because the sidekicks being ranged and just being another body on the board are huge for positioning. And he's got a couple of those Captain Order schemes. Luke has got a couple of the Where's My Money schemes, but overall their boost values aren't the best. Their melee move too. So I expect the sidekicks to be a big target at first. And in general, I think going after Charlie when you're going up against Annie is a really good tactic because you're not engaging with Annie herself. You're getting rid of an incredibly threatening sidekick, but also making him waste a lot of any cards because he only has 2 specific defense cards, and they're the draw two value cards, the turn and a river. So if you're forcing out like the better togethers and the slick talkers and whatnot from Charlie, then it's just like you were attacking Annie as well. It's kind of the same, except you're not lowering Annie's health total, which is the most important thing. So then you're not threatened by her massive value attacks. So I think in general against Annie, you want to just hyper focus Charlie, make him use a bunch of cards, get him out of there, and then Annie's going to struggle a bit. And the whole meanwhile, when you're doing that, you're not threatened by Annie because her ability's not online. So I think that's the dynamic there. And in general, that's against Luke, you want to kill off Misty very early as well because then he's very one-dimensional after Misty dies off. So it's kind of the same for both of these guys. And it's just going to be super interesting to see how this one works out with these crazy health totals and the interesting buffs to both the attack and defense values. So I can't wait to get into it. Can't tell who's going to win. We're going to find out. So let's jump on over to the games and see what happens between Annie Christmas and Luke Cage. Welcome everybody to matchup of the month for October, and this is going to feature 2 brawlers. It's going to be a slugfest here, which I'm really excited about because we have Annie Christmas and Luke Cage. Um, Annie being one of the newer fighters out of the amazing Tales to Amaze set right here, which is just an incredible new set. You can play co-op, or you can play all the fighters in competitive 1v1s or 2v2s or free-for-alls or whatever you want to do. So tons of ways to enjoy it, but you got Annie Christmas, Golden Bat, Jill Trent, and Nikola Tesla. So 4 super cool, super unique characters. They're all really fun and really balanced competitively, so it's super exciting. And I can't wait to try this matchup out. But as always, I got Chad here with me. So how you doing, Chad?
I'm doing great. I really do think that Tales to Amaze is one of the best sets, if not the best set. And so I'm just excited to play these fighters more, showcase what these fighters can do, how dynamic they can be, and kind of more so also get a feeling for just competitively where they're going to end up, how often we're going to see them in tournament, what that side kind of looks like. And Luke is very meta, so I'm very excited to see this one. So I think this is not only a fun matchup of the month, not that any of them aren't fun.
Are you sure about that?
But I think this will be fun for both you and I and the viewers.
Chad,
so it'll be great.
do you remember what the last episode was?
I know you said this is 2 brawlers, which I'm looking forward to, and I'm like, honestly, I'm looking forward to anything other than She-Hulk and Elektra.
Yeah, for sure.
So, which didn't feel super meta to me because those fighters are often just banned.
Yeah,
But I don't
get
feel
rid of
that's
them.
exactly. I don't feel like that's the case here. I think both of these will probably be, we often see these, at least for Luke, right? We see Chocolate Rain and other such people just piloting these characters very masterfully. And I think a lot of Tales to Amaze fighters are going to be in the same boat. So I think I'm excited to see that this matchup might come up more, and it might, who knows, it might come down to who is better with their specific fighter.
Yeah, very meta relevant, I think. And one thing that I thought was super cool about this matchup in particular is that they're both brawlers, yes, but also they're both melee heroes with a ranged sidekick. But Luke is the male with the female sidekick, and Annie is the female with the male sidekick. So I just thought that was really cool, like opposites there. So
It is really cool, and we see, kind of showcasing some, cool African American,
oh, you're right.
fighters at the
That
same
too.
time.
Yeah, wow, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah,
That's so
pretty
cool.
awesome.
So cool. Yeah, so this is going to be a really interesting one. I have not played much of Annie at all. I think I played one game against you with Annie, and I'm pretty sure that was it. I really need to play more Tales to Amaze, which I'm really looking forward to, but I don't have much Annie experience at all, so I really don't know how this is going to go, but I imagine if she gets her ability and smacks Luke really hard, then he's going to crumble with that 13 health, because if she has her ability online, it's negating Luke's ability, essentially. And also, Annie's got, I think, the 6 auto damage, I want to say, in the deck, so that's plenty of damage to take out Luke's 13 measly health, but then Luke obviously is Luke, and he's going to be hitting back really hard, so it's going to be a cool back and forth based on like the health totals. That's going to be everything, I imagine, as in most Annie matchups, I would think. But what do you think about this one in general? Have you played it, or do you have thoughts on it?
I have not played it. The one thing I do want to highlight, she actually has 8 potential auto damage, but 6 from the scheme, and then 1 from a 1 value versatile.
That's right.
Which from Luke, generally you don't want to be playing that on defense. That's
Right.
gonna hurt. But I did want to just highlight that it can technically be up to 10, but that's only if you're baiting with a regroup, and that might
That's
not
right.
be the right
That's
play.
right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but just wanted to highlight that. I'm very excited for this matchup. I think it will be one of those where Luke wants to make sure he's staying above that 6 health threshold, so he doesn't just get schemed to death. But at the same point, it's very interesting being able to play around Annie's ability, and you want to be in such a scenario where Annie's not getting her ability a bunch, and the way you're attacking back and forth doesn't necessarily let her get that online. But every now and again, she can just choose to take an attack. It won't kill her, and now her ability's online, and you're terrified again. So there's kind of this interesting dynamic that really goes around her health total. One unique card interaction that I wanted to just mention is I think Skin Like Titanium is going to be really good from Luke here, because it's going to be able to do a lot of damage. However, because of how it works, if my ability is online, that means my ability will still be online either for a second action attack or the next turn. Because if my ability is online, we take the same amount of damage, and then my ability obviously will then still be online.
Yep.
So that's a very interesting interaction that I thought of. But if it's second action attack, then you have to stay alive after taking, anywhere from 3 to 5 damage after Skin Like Titanium. So, there's just this balance dynamic that I think we'll see a lot of in this game.
Yeah, and you mentioned Annie taking attacks, but not only that, Luke can take attacks too, right? So if Luke knows that Annie, her ability's not online, am I right in saying that Well, okay, no, I'm not right. I was gonna say that Trash Talk cancels everything when the ability is not online, but she's got the 5 that damages her to draw. But anyways, like Luke doesn't have to be too afraid, right? If her ability's not online, so he could just take attacks to preserve those Trash Talks and maybe Power Mans, and then just be able to smack back really hard and not worry about lowering her health total below his because he just took a hit for maybe 2 damage or so. But obviously he's got to be careful because he's only got 13, and as you mentioned, maybe 8 to 10 auto damage, probably 8 reliably, or at least 6. That's pretty scary for Luke, so it's going to be interesting. How important do you think the sidekicks are going to be in
I think
this?
this is battle of the sidekicks, dude. I think whoever sidekick falls first, I don't think it's unwinnable by any means by any of the other fighters. I do think it will be tough.
Yeah,
But I really I foresee I foresee the first half of the game just being sidekick involved in like every combat. I think
sure.
for the early part of the game.
Yeah,
Um,
I can see
just
that.
because I think if Charlie and Annie uh, can take down Misty really early, then Luke becomes a lot more linear. Really, his only surprise is
Money.
his scheme.
Hmm.
Where's my money? And then same with Charlie. If Charlie goes down early, that's some potential healing that she might want just to stay alive. That's the swaps that are gone that can also preserve her health total. Right, that's a ton of damage from Charlie. Charlie's got reliably about 4 or 5s that he can attack with from
Jeez.
range, which is huge. He
Crazy.
can also throw out the 4s from range too. So lots of stuff going on there. So I really do think it's going to be battle of the sidekicks.
Yeah, it's going to be super cool. So let's get into it then. Who do you want to play first?
I was thinking I play Annie first, just because I've had more
Okay.
experience, and we can kind of see how that goes for me, and then
Yeah.
whatever we learn from there, you can implement that in game 2.
Yep, that sounds great. So I'll take Luke, you take Annie. What are we thinking for map? I imagine because of the similarities with the fighter stats here, it's going to probably not matter all that much on the map.
No, I do have a ton of 3 boosts. Well, a ton more than you. Um, But
True.
I'm not sure how much fatigue is going to be a play. I don't feel like either of us are necessarily wanting that
Right.
because our fighters don't necessarily do the best in fatigue.
True.
Um, so now, what maps haven't we played? Have we played with again? What haven't we?
I can't remember them all. We've been doing this for over a year now. Isn't that crazy?
Crazy, dude! Oh, so fun! Great
Yeah.
memories.
Yeah, for sure.
Have we done Hero?
I don't remember doing Hirat, but that sounds like a great one to me.
Yeah,
Let's
we can
do it.
definitely showcase it. You don't necessarily get the showing off of the range sidekicks as much as maybe you'd hope, but I think that's fine.
Sure. Yeah, I think it's fine. That's fine. I think this will be a good one. It's relatively tight for both of us, and there are some, other than these pockets, there are some zone tricks you can do, like, the yellow here to the yellow in the starting spot and whatnot,
Yeah.
and the blues around the corner. So who knows? We'll
Oh
see.
yeah, there are definitely ways to utilize it, I think.
We're gonna just see how this goes. Interesting. I don't know. I'm torn, but
Me too. Me too.
we'll see. All right, I gotta put down Misty. We will go here. Charles.
Charles goes here. You can attack with Misty, but you have to be adjacent
Yep,
to Annie. Okay, I'm cool with that.
go with that.
All right, yeah.
All right, man. Good luck. Have fun.
Yeah, you too.
Here we go. I will start with a maneuver. I must kill Charles.
Nuh-uh.
Uh-huh. I think if I come over here, that seems okay. And Luke can go 1 and probably 2. And let's see. We will have Misty attack Charles. Oh no, not the swap. Dang it. And immediately you have the lower health and you're in single maneuver range. That is just great. I will draw off of the commanding and I will pass to you. Ah. Dang it.
All right, I'll maneuver. We'll close the door. Go here. So you're at 6. I would be at 6.
You would be at 6. What are you talking about?
If I ran.
Oh, cards in hand. You can run. Feel free.
I prefer not to, but I might.
Looks like you're considering it.
I am. I'll maneuver.
Somebody scared of skin like titanium or what?
Yeah, who knows? All right, you're up.
Ah, good positioning. All right, I'll maneuver. And what are we going to do here? We're gonna... Is it worth boosting? I don't know that it is. No, we'll keep Misty there. Luke can go 1, 2. Let's have Misty attack Annie with this. No,
I'll take it.
not that.
Oh, John.
It's too late. Fine, you said you'd take it. You're gonna take
Yeah, I'll
this,
take it. Yeah.
dude. Oh. Oh my gosh. So my consideration why I was like, oh wait, is because I was thinking, okay, if he blocks, he ran the last turn, and so there's got to be some reason you're running. Maybe you're playing towards a long value game or something. I don't know yet, but
Yeah.
you'd be at 5 and I'd still be at 7 because of the card draw from the commanding, and then it just gives you another turn to just double maneuver and again force the initiative on me. So that's why I was like, oh wait a minute, but then you're like, I'll take it. Okay, too late.
Yeah.
All right, but that was, hey, I'm happy with this. So go ahead.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, I'll maneuver.
You must have been expecting a pushback,
Maybe.
or your hand is just god awful and you don't have any blocks, and that's why you maneuvered away last turn.
Yeah, dude, I regret not mulliganing.
Oh no.
I'll leave.
Yet he boosts with a defense card right up in
Just
my
drew it.
face.
Just drew it, buddy.
Just drew it, throw it away. Who needs it?
Oh, Annie attack you.
Oh man. All right, Annie. What do you throw in here? Probably a big old 7, and that's not great. But you put Charles in danger.
That's right.
So, I will. Are you doing your thing? Well, either way, I take 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
I will.
Technically, you decide before I take the damage, but it's irrelevant.
True. Well, I decide before you push me.
Yep. Although you're a little low here.
I will do it twice.
Wow. I'm very curious to hear about what's going on with your hand when we're done. But I can push you, what, 3 spaces? So we'll go 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
1 damage on each. And it's my turn, huh?
Correct.
Okay, you're only at 4 health. Oh my gosh. Let's have Luke attack you.
Luke attack.
Yeah.
First action.
First action. Oh my gosh. One too many, buddy. All right, so that saves you, and now you're safe for the whole entire turn. But now Power Man is a lethal.
That's correct. And still standing. Or sorry, the 0.
The skin like titanium. Ooh, do I even? I don't even attack again, do I? Because your health can't
Unless
go
you wanted
down.
cards.
Unless I want cards, because you'll take it, and then I just get to draw 2.
Yeah.
Oh, very interesting. But no thanks. I'm just gonna. I'll take a card and get away. How about?
Sounds good.
You don't have healing outside of combat, right?
Correct. But I could attack with Charles.
But you have to be adjacent then.
To Charles, so you so you
Oh.
push me through and kill me.
Yeah, that's right. Because defender resolves first. Oh, this is beautiful.
Remind yourself that overconfidence is a
Let's go
slow
like that,
and
and you can go.
insidious killer.
All right, sounds good. All right, I'll maneuver. I'll boost.
Another defense card.
I'll have Charles attack you.
And you're not
wait.
adjacent to
1,
Annie.
2, 3. Yep.
Charles. What are you doing here, Charles? Probably smacking me with, what's he got? A 5. He's got maybe a 6 if the bottom dealing hits big. Oh, I don't like this. I'll take it. Oh, no. Whammy, whammy, whammy.
Draw from bottom to table face up. Oof.
Oh, yes.
That sucks so bad. I only have 6/1 boosts in my deck.
Oh, man. And that's 4
Hitting
of
a
them are that
4 would have
card.
been, or a 3 for 4 damage, dude. Get me in this game.
Oh, that's too bad. So I imagine you want that card on the top, huh?
Potentially to make my next bottom dealing better, but I feel like this card might not help me. So I'm wondering if I want it buried.
Well,
But
it
you
is
take 2
healing.
regardless.
Yeah. So 1, 2, because yours is a 4. Oof. That was your luck is not coming through for you this
I'm
game.
actually gonna leave it on the bottom.
Okay. Okay.
All right, you're up.
Did you just steal my card?
Huh?
Wait. Oh, I didn't play a card. I thought you pulled off like my defense. I forgot I didn't defend.
I really regret not mulliganing because we're not showcasing a great game at all.
Well, we
Oh,
got
well.
another one. It's not
Yeah,
over.
it's
It's
all
not
good.
over yet.
Oh yeah.
All right.
The fact that if I had hit a 3 boost there, I'd be totally like in this is crazy.
I'd be at 6. It'd be pretty scary. And then I'm in lethal range of the auto
Yeah.
alone. So
Crazy.
I'm gonna maneuver. And you're at 1, so like I don't even think I have to wait around. I think I just go smack you and Misty will go like 1, 2 actually. And I guess Luke will attack Annie. God. How many of them do you have?
3 total.
your turn. Oh my gosh. I see why you took. If you're sitting on Mississippi Queens, you don't want to be throwing them when you're at like full health.
Yeah, exactly.
Oof. Okay. So I took the 2 from the pearls.
I'll maneuver. Go there and there. All right, and you're up.
Okay, I will maneuver. Let's boost. 1, 2, 3, 4. Luke can 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 is fine.
Okay.
Okay. And then we will have Misty attack Annie. Dang it. Oh my gosh. All right. Charles takes 3. And it's your turn. You're living. It's crazy, your survivability. Oh my gosh, what is going on? Am I gonna die?
Yes.
No way. You have another. You're attacking me here? All right, hold up. The viewers got to see what's going on. So you played pearls, right? You dealt me 2 from 6
I did.
down
Captain's
to 4.
orders.
Captain's orders places you in any empty space in the zone.
I guess I'll take Charlie there.
All right, and you were in. You were here
Because of
because you
Slick Talk.
swapped. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And you can be throwing a 7. Oh, what else do you have? Dude, if you kill me here. Oh my gosh. Look at this. What was that game? What was that game?
Holy cow, dude.
No.
I thought you had
Dude.
it in the back, dude.
What the heck was that? I mean, you survived 1, 2, 3 turns of lethal attacks at 1 health, and then you just
Dude,
like,
it's crazy. Like
oh
that,
my gosh.
Although I agree that is like crazy, but that does happen on like in
Yeah.
other scenarios where like if she gets them later and she's actually already done like good points of damage. So here I can walk through my hand.
When I
and
took
what
from
was
Charlie, dude, this was my only other option. So either way, I was going to take the damage. And I was like, well, I want to save this in case Annie attacks. I had nothing else.
thinking. Wow.
Or else I would have thrown anything else, right? Because like all I needed to do was not die. And
Yep.
it happened.
When you took from Charlie, I'm like, okay, this is my window. Like because you've only drawn 1 card since that.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, let's hope it's because I'm pretty sure if you had trash talk against Charlie, you 1000% would have thrown it. Power Man, I could have seen you maybe keeping
Yeah, for
to
Annie.
like keep the threat
Yeah.
of like Annie, so I could see that. But that crazy game,
Dude.
So yeah, so here's my starting hand.
That looks like a decent hand.
Oh, sorry, not this. What was it?
The other pearls?
Pearls.
Yeah, that seems like a good starting hand.
So here's my thing. I'm like 2 of these early. That seems really good for me. Having 1 of these early, that stinks.
Yeah.
I prefer to get it later, but I'll take it for having the slick talk early because I think you're gonna like commanding Charlie turn 1,
Right.
which you did.
Right.
So I was like, this is great. So then I maneuvered and I drew into this. No, sorry, I drew into this.
Another one.
And I'm like, that's probably the worst. So I was thinking about attacking you, but I was like, okay, if I attack you with this, yes, I get some good damage off. I'm at 12. If you take, you take a bunch of damage. But if I want to use this to card draw to get a good defense.
Yeah.
But if you faint here and you take 3, I take none, but then this has gone out of my hand again. What do I do here?
Right.
Like,
You just get smacked. You go down to 1 and then you're
it was a garbage hand, I felt, to then do that. So that's why I ran. And so then I maneuvered again and I drew this. And so now my hand looks like this. When I took the 5 from the other commanding from Misty, I'm like, this is garbage. What is this?
Holy cow. And it, oh my gosh, like it's worked out perfect. Did you set that up on purpose?
Yeah, I put Charlie here for the swap on purpose.
Oh
I was
my
hoping you stayed
gosh.
somewhere where the yellow would work, which was pretty wide. I mean, you could have gone here, of course.
I thought about coming down here and closing the door in case, like, so my thought was I'm here, I'm putting Misty, it was like this, and I'm like, okay, looking at your double maneuvers, because you're on the run is what I think, and I'm like, okay, if you go 1, 2, 1, 2, and 1, now if I keep Luke anywhere around here, like I thought about putting him, like, over, what, here or something, like really just blocking Annie in. I guess I could have done that with Luke, but then I'm adjacent to you, which I didn't necessarily want to do. So in case of this formation, that's why I ran this way. And if you saw, I moved over here at first, but then I was like, nah, I'll come back one. And I was like, okay, that's all right here. Because I was going to come over here and then do that so that I can just come over here.
Yeah.
And then I lose because of it. One space.
One space.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
Well, that was a fantastic game to showcase.
It was.
This.
I had way more fun than this than the whole She-Hulk Electra.
Insane. Dude, and we thought we were going to go after sidekicks, dude. You didn't touch Misty. I had all the defense in the world. I had both of these. My opening hand was...
Holy cow, I didn't even know that. No joke, dude. You were stacked for defense.
So I had those, and I had this. That was my opening hand. I was like, double commandings and all the Misty defense.
Hand.
Perfect. I'll keep this. And then I drew into, like, my first draw. I got the Power Man. I was like, oh, man, this is amazing. And, wow. And... a really interesting decision point that came up actually was when I did hit you and you played the Mississippi Queen and you lived at 1, and we were talking about, oh, attacking again, haha, for card draw. I actually thought about attacking again with this just to cycle back the Power Man and have increased chances because this was lethal. So I actually thought about it, and you're going to take, right? Of course. So I'm just going to smack you and I'm going to get my cycling guaranteed.
Yep.
But
if you had that, you would have died sooner.
I didn't have any defense. That's why I ran. So
yeah, because I had the same 2-card combo.
Yeah.
Of the pearls and the.
And immediately when I maneuvered away, I drew into the skin. So I was like, perfect. Like I got what I need. If he attacks me again, he dies. And so I just need to not let him get free healing. And then that's why I sent in Misty like a couple turns in a row. I think. Well, first I sent in Luke with this because I had the regroup, which would have been lethal over everything but the Mississippi Queen or the swap. And then I had Misty throw Daughter, yep, which you had the swap. And so you just had a perfect amount of turns to live, and you set up the swap absolutely perfectly here to be able to ping me for the 2 auto and attack me. Like, what the heck? Insane.
The 3 cards. Literally, I had 3 cards.
You used your whole hand.
Game,
solitaire, full
full
solitaire. Full solitaire, perfect lethal. Oh my gosh, what a game.
What a game.
That was incredible.
That was amazing.
All right.
I did want to highlight one thing interesting about this game. It did kind of come up, but just about the healing in general. The healing is an extremely good card. 4 copies, arguably the best 4 copy in any deck.
Oh yeah.
In my opinion,
it's better than Sly Monkey by a mile.
Oh yeah, right. And then you got Highway Robbery, which is arguably better.
That's really good. Be Like Water is really good.
Oh, Water! I forgot about Water.
But your card is more versatile.
Yeah. So it's a 4, right? It's just a 4 already, which is already a solid defensive or attacking value. Like, it's just good. And then not required to win. You just have to be adjacent to a friendly fighter, and then they both heal. So in cooperative or teams, we already see benefit, but for competitive, we see Charlie. It gives him a lot of healing, gives you some healing. But if you're attacking with it, in order to proc it, the only thing that can stop it is defensive movement.
Skirmish.
So where you can, you see the similar type of thing with Sherlock and Watson, where Watson will attack, and if you throw a skirmish or any type of forced movement, and Luke actually has a decent chunk of that, at least with
Power Man and pushback
and Power Man. So there's not really a safe option in order to get healing,
right?
Which is I wanted to highlight that versus some other fighters that's not really the case. You're going to get your healing and you're fine with that.
Right. So you can't attack for your healing safely, and you can't attack me safely without dying. So you literally had to do exactly what you did. Crazy, man! What a crazy game.
The crazy thing, if I had put the 4 on top, I probably would have lost. Because that next draw was Captain's Orders.
Insane, dude. Couldn't have asked for a better ending. Like, what a game.
I know, that was amazing.
Oh my gosh.
All right, let's swap
Flip it around.
Yeah?
Let's do it again.
Oh, man.
See what I get here.
I mulliganed. I didn't show my card, unfortunately. Sorry.
No worries. So mulligan from you. I was hoping that, after the first game I'd have a better idea of how to play Annie properly in the matchup. But I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't
you
know what
didn't
I
really
saw.
showcase anything.
Yeah.
I showed you how great of a card Mississippi Queen is.
Yeah, what the heck, dude? I don't even know what I'm looking for. I guess like the 5 is probably the best opening attack you can have because then it will immediately put you below him and
Yep,
hit him
as
hard.
long as he doesn't paint.
Yeah, so I'll mulligan then. Seems
Oh
fine.
yeah, I
but
like getting Mississippi Queen out of there.
yeah.
I mean, we saw how well it helped me, but if you don't have a reason to have it early, I think you want it buried.
Right.
But I think playing with mitosis, there's always a scenario where we're playing and it's like, look, we both know you're sitting on 3 Mississippi Queens.
Crazy. All right, ranged. Charles, you can go up here just like Misty did. Got the same start.
Let's say.
All right, you
All right.
ready?
Yep, let's do it.
All right, good luck, have fun.
Yeah, you too.
I'm gonna have to read cards a little bit more here.
No worries.
Okay, let's take a maneuver to start. And what do we want to do with that maneuver? After having seen that last game, I really don't know if I want to go after the sidekick. I think I just want to beat your face in. Like,
honestly, I think it played out really well for me. Obviously, it worked out well there, but I could see a scenario where then I attack you to want to attack back, and then you're like, I guess I'll take it, and I'm like, uh-oh.
right? Like, I was sitting on those Misty swap defenses, and it just didn't matter. I didn't need them. Let's do it. We're gonna boost in. Yeah, let's do it. We're gonna boost in here.
That's a great card to boost in.
Yeah, I assume this is trash in the matchup. Like, yeah, it's a 3-value feint conditionally, but like, what do you need a feint for in this matchup? You don't want to feint Luke.
Yeah, the only scenario is offensively into Power Man or thing. But even then, you're risking hitting that.
We'll go like that. I think is good.
All right.
And then let's have Annie attack Luke with this. Dang, dude. Oh, I would have had such a killer start. Deal
it would have been
3,
so solid.
Deal 3, draw up to 7 while you're at 4. Oh, sad day. All right, your turn.
Run away!
I'm not even scary. I'm not big, Annie.
Maneuver. Alright, you're up.
Okay, let's maneuver. I think I'll go 1, 1, 2. Maneuver again. I think we can go like 1, 2, door. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, good there. Your turn. Oh no. I don't have your money, Luke. Get away from me. First action. Terrifying, terrifying. I can see it being the get paid. And because of that, do I want you to draw 2? I mean, that puts initiative on you. Oh, we'll do this. Well, crap. Now the initiative's on me. Alright, Annie, come on here. Take 1. Oh, and you got some good cards back. Holy cow. It's not a good start.
Well, I mean, I didn't want the swap. I wanted to be able to double maneuver and then be 2 away from Charlie versus
Yeah.
2 away from Annie. But I will maneuver.
All right,
Yeah.
I go. I'll maneuver. 1, 2, 1, 2. Let's have Annie. Let's have Annie attack. So you first. Mine is not adjacent. It's automatically 1. If I win, it's 2. Okay. So 1 to you,
Yep.
and
you take 1 damage as well.
that's right. And it's your turn.
I like that. I really like that play by you. Because
Why?
you either bait out a defense. In
Yeah.
this case, you did bait out a defense, and you still get the 1 damage without your ability online. So while you're like looking for another one of these, you're in a good spot. So I like that.
Having hand advantage, I'm not super afraid of like counterattacks, so I figured take the 1 damage now because it's like a kind of like that Bullseye and T-Rex matchup that we did, where like it's like counting the number of interactions, and so I want to be on I want to be ahead, right? I want to have the tempo there.
Yeah, I definitely see that. All right, I double maneuvered and it'll be your turn.
Okay. I will maneuver as well. And now I can afford to double maneuver, but then you're gonna just play another Where's My Money and zoom at me and smack me with still standing. Let's see. I
like this matchup already.
It's very cool.
I think it's a good one. I think we're both scared of a number of things that the opponent did, and we're both like, oh, this is a great play by me, like, and a number of times, you know?
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, I need everything to go right in order to...
Let's maneuver again. It's very cool. I think Charles just needs to back off 1. And this forces a boost. 1, 2, because Luke would have to boost to open the door. Misty can move. Oh, no, Misty can move and open the door. Well, dang it. I guess I can come down here.
That works.
And that works. So your turn.
I'll maneuver.
Yeah, I don't know how much, like, deck count matters. Initiative might matter, though, but I don't know.
I don't
think
sure.
it does. I don't think it does.
Say what?
I don't think initiative matters. I think
Annie's just gonna kill you, I think.
Yeah. Again, I think it's just about the number of interactions. So
yeah. I mean, we saw that in the Yananga game that you and I played. Like, you were doing fine there, but there was a moment in there where it's like, oh, this is actually terrifying.
Right, like I could die if I don't have the right stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so you boosted with the cell phone, open the door with Misty.
And I'll attack Charlie with Misty with this card.
Full heal?
Dang it.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yes. Oh man. Huge.
I thought of any time for you not to play a 4, this might be it.
Yeah.
So that's why I threw it.
Yeah, I was thinking about that ahead of time, was like, how do you ever trigger this? And then you go and trigger it first turn.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right, that's a relief.
But my thought was, worst case scenario, he plays the 4, I lose this, but then Annie can't get her ability off with even a 5.
Yep.
That was my thought.
Which is true. You are safe for now. So I'll maneuver. We'll go 1, 2.
But we'll see. Chocolate Rain's probably rolling over.
I'm a little worried about another Power Man hitting Charles. I don't necessarily want to. Do I care? I don't know. I was thinking about coming on the other side of the door, but maybe I don't even care. Let's open the door for 1, and then we will move up 1 here.
I like that.
And then we're going to have Annie attack Luke. Oh, dang. So You draw 2. You take 1. And your turn.
I like that card. It's a great card in this matchup.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think. It comes into play a ton.
Yep. Kind of wish I would have attacked with something else, but given what you defended with, but you never know.
We'll attack Charlie with this.
Misty into Charles.
Mm-hmm.
Take. Oh, come on. Not the right one.
I'm at 6, you're at 6. I think I got a maneuver.
Come on, you didn't want to attack again while you were adjacent to me?
If I could maybe attack with Misty again, I probably would have, but attacking with Luke, I think, was ill-advised.
Yeah.
As I see it.
For sure.
It's scary. I mean, you just have to get me 4 more damage,
right.
And then I have to kill you.
Before I get my
like,
auto.
That's it, right? Like that.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
All right, my turn?
Right. Yep.
Okay, I will maneuver.
I do think killing Charlie would help.
I don't want you to kill Charlie.
Charlie had it coming.
No, he didn't. He didn't do anything to you.
It's true. Charlie's a very respectable sidekick.
Yeah, he is. Look at him stand there with his little gun.
Derringer. Yeah.
His little pistol. You know, he's just wheeling and
the same
dealing.
mark from Better Together.
Is it? Oh yeah, you're right.
Which I love the art on, by the way.
It's amazing because they're like coming out of a picture frame. So great.
I think Mississippi Queen is my favorite of her art, though. I love the crocodiles.
Oh yeah, for sure. All right, so we go there and let's back Charles off a little bit. Like that. And then we'll have Annie attack Misty.
Wait a second. This is gonna be move both of us 2 spaces, huh?
Of course.
Keep your hands to yourself. Can't keep my hands to myself.
Yep. All right. Up to 2. We're gonna
If I had to swap, I would have played it because I knew I wasn't taking it.
Right. Let's go 1.
This is a great card.
2.
Great to boost with too.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy though how much like movement, like how much space, right? That actually gives.
Yeah.
But I'm good there. And your turn. Boosting. Why do you have to do that? You're throwing your 6 at Charles?
Maybe.
Yeah, I know. You're like, well, you can auto kill him if I don't have a 4, so I'll take my. Oh yeah, the swap. All right. Whatever. I'll take my card.
Swap is what makes him like so survivable, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, because his and it plays so well into her ability.
Goodbye, Charles. It's nice knowing you.
Good night, sweet prince.
Okay, and it's my
now
turn.
You're fully loaded.
Fully loaded to maneuver and do nothing because I don't have my ability. Let's see. I guess we'll boost with. Yeah, we'll boost with this crap.
Yep.
1, 2, 3.
You sure you don't want to go after Misty?
Yeah, I'm sure. Luke needs to die. I need revenge.
I need revenge.
I have to avenge Charles.
Charles.
My good man. Let's attack with this. I take 1. Move each of us 2. Dang, that was some far movement. I think we'll
But this, I
go
think, was a great play by you.
1, 2, 1, 2. That's better. Okay, your turn. I wanted to be more center, which I think this is not, in case you run to this side of the doors.
Yep.
This is more center where I'm at, but I didn't want to be chasing.
You should teach a TED talk on positioning.
You're right. I really should.
Honestly, I would pay money.
Don't give me any ideas. Or I should say, no, keep the ideas coming.
Sounds good. Well, I mean, because I recommended it, I would of course get some of it. But
Right.
I mean, you know.
Business! Yeah. All right, you
Alright,
good
yeah.
there?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, my goodness. Here we go.
We didn't talk
1,
about it,
2,
but
3,
y'all, this
4,
is the
5.
first matchup of the month as the 3-time champion, Zero Skater 12 with his 3rd trophy. Maybe I need to do it again when it's there, so you can show it.
Yeah,
Right off.
unfortunately, we just have this wonderful Bruce Lee box instead.
There we go. Yeah.
Alan still has my trophies. He forgot to give them back to me when I was over there for the finals. So he still has them at his house from when he was doing like the video shoot.
Yeah. That was a great video. But yeah, congrats to
Yes.
Zero Skater. You know, went
Thank
ahead
you.
and leapfrogged me in the elo. I was on top there for a second, and Zero claimed the spot that we all knew he had.
We're in a never-ending battle between 1st and 2nd place on the Unmatched Elo.
That's right, you and me, buddy.
That's right. Wouldn't have it any other way.
That's right. So
What do I do here? I'm gonna maneuver. It's so bad. Man, it's annoying. I guess I'm going to...
I learned from the best.
Jeez. All my options are terrible. Honestly. Yeah, this is really bad. I'm gonna go 1, 2. We're just gonna maneuver again. We're gonna go 1, 2, and you can go. I got a discard. It'll be long shot. Go ahead.
I love this card. How with Charlie, it's a great, but against like Winter Soldier or Merlin.
Yeah, Merlin.
It's a great.
You mean Willow?
That's it. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yes, I meant the rage fighter that's played more than Merlin.
Yeah.
I know. Sorry, Kazette. I know you love Willow.
And Darkblade.
That's right. How could I?
He's gonna probably make some kind of crazy edit in this video at this moment. Trash talking you for slighting Willow like
That's
that.
right.
Bored now. One down.
Oh no!
I don't want to give you your ability.
Come on, you gotta attack me at some point. You have no more cycling.
I do. See, I didn't close the door, and I will regret that forever. So overdraw.
Yep.
All right. Yeah.
All right. I will maneuver.
I feel like we need some like intense music right now.
We'll just jam into some jolly old Mario.
That's right.
1, 2,
Oh, you
3.
had it.
All right, we're just gonna hit you for 2.
What? All right. I'll
We'll
hit
see. I'm gonna have to get him at some point. So like, I want to put you into a spot where if further on as the game goes, if I get you to 4, bam, bam, you're dead. Right?
That's what I was realizing too,
Yeah.
especially when I had lower health. Is I want to get it to where my attack is actually lethal. When we were doing it,
Right.
but that's because I was already at 1.
We'll defend.
Let's do the full 3.
Okay. And I move each of us up to 2. So I can move them in a certain order, which is very cool. Like that. How about?
Yep.
Let me think about this. Because you still have another action. Were we here?
That's
That
pretty cool.
is better. Okay.
Maneuver.
Yep.
We'll do that, and it'll be.
Okay. I'll maneuver.
Look at me playing the value game. People are like, "Where's Chad?"
I don't like it.
It's like I'm looking at your, and you don't have like that many defenses left, but the defenses you do have are like so
good.
freaking good.
Yep. Let's go 1,
It's like-
2. We're gonna maneuver again. Go 1 and okay. Your turn.
Maneuver.
What a scumbag.
I'll ditch this one.
Uh-huh.
Alright, you're up.
I know what you're doing. You're holding the trash talk so that when I throw my 5, you cancel my immediately self-damaging thing, so I only deal 1.
No.
Crap.
Why would I do that?
Bunch of crap. Gonna maneuver. And we'll boost it with Charles card. And I will attack you with this. Oh no!
That's a lot of damage.
Alright, what are my options here?
Do it.
If you
I
take
can-
2 to make it a 7,
And then you
go
take
down to
5.
7. You both take 5, so you go down to 2.
And I go down to 2. Fantastic. And then I can't attack you anymore. Oh, I could actually, because if I lethal you over the skin, then it doesn't matter, and you're out of the power mans. So you'd go down to what? 2?
3. So your last 5 would kill me.
Oh yeah. I think, and then have super initiative on me, but I don't think that matters because I have queens buried in deck somewhere. I could take
Which
what?
you may find.
I could take 1 damage, and then we each are gonna go down to 5. No, we're going all the way.
Yeah, boy.
Go big or go home.
Yeah.
Taking the 2.
Maybe I should have trash talked. I don't know. My thought was I don't actually have the stuff to kill you before you kill me. That was my thought.
I agree with that, I think. Like I said, it's all about the number of interactions, and I got all those interactions in early.
I feel like as long as you just keep attacking me, you're gonna win. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like you keep attacking me with your 4s, like those have to at some point I have to take one of those, and the moment I do, then your 2 5s, and then your 2 pearls, and that's it. You just have to get all those stuff off,
Yep.
which I think you can
Yep.
at that point in the game. So that's why I did it. But we'll see if that was a mistake or not.
All right, so we each take the 5 there. Obviously, the Charlie card.
I'll attack you.
Yep. Playing around the healing, smart. So I go down to 1.
Okay, I think I stay there, and you're up.
Okay, well, I don't have the 5. So I'll maneuver. But I also need to be able to guarantee that I can reach you, but I don't think that will be a problem with jumping around with captain's orders. Let's go like that. Let's maneuver again. Oh. 1, 2.
This is fun.
Yeah.
I'm still not sure if I made the right call, but I think it would have been just a longer drawn out game with that still being the case.
We'll keep the door open and you can go.
You keep the door open, which says either one thing: you're very ballsy, or you have another queen. So let's see. You can hop to orange. All right, I'll boost with this.
Okay.
I'll attack with Misty.
Well, I think I have to do this. Crap.
There you go.
I'll maneuver. One, two. Let's maneuver again. One, two. Yeah, let's boost actually. So one.
This is your second maneuver. Just...
Yeah.
Yep.
I think we'll do that, and it's your turn.
If you can reach me, you win the game. Pretty sure. So what do you have? You have a 3 boost for sure. Do you? I think so. You definitely could have another Mississippi or one of these. I think those are your only 3s left. But you're only not going to have one of those cards. So if I do something cheeky, you can like hop here, then take one. I think you could probably do it with a maneuver and then 2 orders.
Let's
There's no
hope.
way you can't, I think.
Let's hope.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out if there's a way that that's not the case, but I don't think so.
Yeah, I was like trying to think about, all right, if he plays another pushback and like, where do I end up? And yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the queen. I had all 3 of them.
That, and then there's still a hope that it's buried. I don't think it is, but
Could be last card.
one maneuver. 1, 2. I don't think there was a place where I could have hid from all of your movement shenanigans.
I don't
I
think
really
so
don't.
either.
So, but who knows?
I'm just kind of assuming though.
You're up. Yeah, same.
All right, I'll maneuver and
Do you have it?
boost. I don't know, do I? Yeah.
Easy.
Holy cow.
Easy.
Oh man. So I didn't have it until the previous turn here. So then I was kind of regretting. I'm like, wait a minute, like he might like run me out of Mississippi's and I might not find it, and then I'm probably going to lose. So, because then you just throw a commanding and I die. Because you just baited out my...
Did you just top deck it?
This?
Oh, yeah.
No, I just top decked this. I drew this
Okay.
as my second maneuver on the previous turn.
I see.
So
Yeah.
thank goodness. It was card number 3 from the bottom.
Yeah, I needed it buried, I think.
Yeah, yeah. But
I think my problem when I did do the math with if I throw what's it called there, I didn't realize that I would have been at lethal for Lanyap. I thought I hadn't calculated that part, which I think was a problem. The reason I thought you needed 2 interactions. I thought you needed 2 actions when I threw it, and so my math was basically saying, as long as I never let this get you a double attack turn, I have enough interactions to run you out of, because you were at 2 health. So
Right.
I thought that I'd have enough interactions to run you out of your Mississippi Queens before you killed me.
sure.
But that was wrong.
So it was really interesting because the turn that I took all that damage, I was like, wait a minute, can I, because we were at 1 to 3?
It was 2 to 3.
2 to 3? Okay. I got down to 1 at one point.
I attacked you immediately after with commanding into a Mississippi.
Okay.
Or sorry, not commanding.
Sweet Christmas, right. So then
Yeah.
it was at that point, I think, that I thought about, wait a minute, this is a 6. Can I kill him? And I thought, well, I could have, couldn't I? No. Yes?
I had the trash talk.
The trash talk. Oh, I was thinking Power Man. I was like, wait a minute, I'll deal 2, but I won't get the lethal, and then the Power Man will kill me, but you already used both your Power Mans. So scratch that. Because you had Titanium left, but if I am the attacker and I kill you with it, then it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that was...
It would have been tricky to reach me though early game, or during that initial kind of running around. I think.
Yeah, you body blocked really well with Misty in this little corner. That was
I'm curious to know what would have
interesting.
happened if I played it safer.
Yeah, me too.
Just to workshop, but I'm not sure. I feel like Luke needs to kill you, and was feeling like I was running out of damage to actually do that.
Yeah.
And because you have 3 passes and I have no passes, I was actually concerned for
Fatigue.
fatigue. Yeah.
Right. Because
But I guess
fatigue...
maybe in hindsight, maybe I saved one of these for the Mississippi shenanigans. But
Oh, yeah.
I think I mentioned for you, like by the time Mississippi Queens are coming out, except for that crazy first game, normally Luke should be within lethal range.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's probably pretty tricky to actually start fishing out Mississippi Queens where you're not also like at a point where you're scared, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't feel like this is a great first action attack. Like if I run up with Luke, or second action attack, I come in and I'm like, let me throw this.
Right.
As well as nothing really saved me at that point, right?
Mm-hmm.
I needed, because I have no healing. So not trash talking these, I think actually really came into play. These are great.
Oh, yeah.
Because you weren't below my health pool for like until the very end.
Right.
But these really helped you kind of do it, and I didn't want to waste my trash talks on it because it's, you weren't big.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Exactly.
very well played. That's
Thanks.
great.
Those were good games. Who do you think's favored? I mean, Annie won both of them, but like just barely, I feel.
It feels very close. I don't know if I feel super favored one way or another.
Yeah.
We didn't see Charlie do much in either of these games.
Yeah, what the heck, dude? We were thinking Battle of the Sidekicks. Misty's at full health, 6 health right here, and I mean Charlie's dead
Misty
here, but
attacked like twice.
yeah.
I was so wrong about how the sidekicks would play out in this game.
Me too, dude. I'm very surprised about that. And
I think that's probably the way to play it, at least in my opinion.
yeah, I mean,
Now, I did kill Charlie.
which was good for you, but it still
Yeah.
doesn't solve the real problem of dying.
Yeah, exactly.
Like we're not playing a value game, right? We're not playing a long game. We're just trying to kill each other. And the sidekicks are so good when you can soak up so much value out of your opponent, right? And they kind of gas out. But like
Yep.
neither of us really are gassing out. We're gonna kill the other one by the time we get through our decks. So
Exactly.
it's a little bit different, you know. The sidekicks are almost like a waste of time. Like I said, those interactions, those precious interactions, you're wasting on sidekicks, and that's not really progressing your overall win condition at all.
But if I'm aggressing Annie, then she smacks like a truck.
Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe you're okay with that. I don't know. Like in my game,
Yeah, no, I don't know. Yeah,
I went
don't know.
aggressive on you after that very first swap interaction. I was like, all right, screw it. You were body blocking. I'm just going to smack Annie and forget about Charlie because it was too much of a pain to get around to. And, yeah, like it seemed to work out okay. I pressured you pretty well. Like I had 2 commandings, granted, in my opening hand, and I got to go first, right, which was huge tempo. But maybe Luke does just want to just not care. Because as soon as she smacks you once when she's big, you're probably lower than her again. And then now you can smack. Like it's a back and forth, you know? And then obviously the schemes are a concern, but you also have Misty to hit really hard from ranged. So if you can do that with Misty, then you're not giving Annie like a double scheme turn, which, again, as long as you're not giving Yeah, you have to avoid that because as long as you're not giving the double scheme turn, again, that's the number of interactions, right? And
Yeah.
anytime she wants to move up and scheme you, well, you get to smack her again, right? And that's maybe a Mississippi Queen down, and then a maneuver away on is your second action. And so the auto damage is there, but it's not free.
Yeah.
It's like an opportunity cost. So
Yeah, it's fascinating. It's a great matchup, I think. I agree with you. Yeah, it's interesting.
yeah,
I don't know. It is one of those like, yeah, I'm fascinated to know kind of the other outlets and avenues of how this game could have played. But
yeah, this is definitely one where we could like just repeat this whole thing and do it again,
do it
once
again and
again
keep
from each
doing it.
side, right? And you could just keep I think you're going to
Yeah.
keep seeing like different types of games play out with this one. It's really
This is one of
interesting.
the ones where I think it's really. I think my earlier prediction of whoever has either played this matchup or is more of master of their fighter will probably win this one.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I agree.
I think I'd agree with that.
It's very interesting
It
because,
seems very fun.
yeah, it's really cool because most of the thought that goes into this particular matchup is about calculating lethals. And that
Hmm.
kind of applies to most matchups, but like really especially in this matchup with the health
Yeah,
totals and calculating lethals and how much damage do you have left, and that's like it's so important here,
yeah,
which I think is really
it's
cool.
very fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm a big fan of Annie, so if this turns out to be pretty good for Annie, I'm okay with that.
Oh yeah, especially how meta relevant Luke is. It'll be great to see a good matchup there for Annie. But
Yeah,
like you said, though, I mean, I think all the characters can hold their own in tourney, so it's going to be really exciting to see how they shake up the tournament meta for probably winner of champions.
yeah, I am very excited. I think we got some solid fighters here.
Yep, can't wait to test more. But yeah, I mean, any other final thoughts or is that
No,
about
I
it?
don't
I
think
think we
so.
about covered
Yeah,
everything.
there's some interesting games. As you could tell, I don't think either of us play Luke.
Yeah, no, not at all.
No, but it was good. It was good. I like. I think if I had to play this in a tournament, I think I'd probably prefer the Annie side.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I like her options a little better. I like her card draw a little better.
Yes, the
And
fives.
I like her survivability a little more. But that said, if I had the Luke side, I don't think I'd be like, oh no, I just lost. Like I think I'd
Yeah,
still be like, oh yeah, this is totally fine. Like
for
we'll see
sure.
how this plays out. So that's kind of where I'd put the matchup. Is I'd prefer to be on the Annie side, but I'm not upset if I'm on the Luke side.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. And another thing I wanted to mention real quick is like the map, right? We talked about how it was kind of anti-range, and maybe that has something to do with why the sidekicks weren't deemed as valuable here, right? Because like you just kind of hide in these pockets, and then you have to get around the hero anyways to reach the sidekick, and like the sidekick, like the zone cutoffs are so hard here and the doors, so like I don't know, they just didn't seem that useful, and maybe that's map dependent. Maybe on a different map you'd see more use out of them and more
I could
value.
definitely see that being the case.
Yeah, for sure. So that was interesting. I wonder how it'd play out on different maps. Yeah,
Especially with Charlie with Captain's Orders is so huge because you can sometimes get like a double attack turn with Charlie.
right.
Now, if he has a trash talk, it's not a double attack,
Hmm.
um, but you're probably okay with that. It's just a huge positioning tool.
Right.
It's one of my favorite cards.
Yeah, it's a very interesting card. And meanwhile, Where's My Money doesn't really change based on the map, right? It's pretty much
Mhm.
the same always. So yeah, I'd be interested to see it played on another map, but it was
Yeah.
a fun one. So whoever
I
recommended this
still
one, that
can't
was
believe
that was great.
game
Dude,
one,
game one was
dude.
amazing. It was absolutely perfect. It's so funny, like we saw the complete opposites again, where game one was just a slugfest and we died like so quick, and then this game we run to the end of the deck, right? Barely hanging on with Mississippi Queens, finding the perfect lethal that's buried at the bottom of the deck. Like
Yeah,
it's crazy. Total
very
opposite
cool.
games, but
But yeah, as you highlighted, it was both kind of like lethals, right? Like we both were finding those. I mean, I would have if you had a two value block, you would have gone down to one. But like if you didn't, you died in that first game,
yeah,
which it
right.
still happened. But like, I was calculating those and all that. It's a great. Yeah, this was fun. This was fun.
For sure, for sure.
I liked this end game a lot, but it was basically like you're going to win, but I have a way where you're not guaranteed to win.
Yep.
Like if we saw there, if you didn't get it there on that first maneuver, I think you have to come in and attack me. But then I think I might win in fatigue, like because you can't afford any fatigue damage.
Because I'm literally at 1.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, you would have to come in for an attack that would. It'd be interesting, right? Because Pearls is your bottom card, so like you still have a lethal ski. So it's like all these tricky things. But I would have killed you, right? Is the thing because you're out of Mississippi. So
Right.
it's still like there was still windows for me that game, where like here if it was bottom card, I won the game.
Yeah. That's crazy.
So yeah, it's pretty fun.
Yeah, super cool. All right, well, that's going to do it for Matchup of the Month for October. That was a good one. So thanks for playing as always, and I'm looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for having me.
No problem, man. All right, take it easy.
All right, talk to you later.
Later.
All right, and that's going to do it for Matchup of the Month October. And wow, that first game was a blast. I mean, it was insane, right? There was no way I would ever think Annie was coming back after that amazing start. And yet we saw her hanging on by a thread from those Mississippi Queens, and getting that buff to her ability, the +2 on offense there, was huge. And she made the impossible happen. And it was just so cool. I'm so glad we captured that one there. I couldn't have asked for a better showcase of the matchup. And even though Annie ended up winning both of them, I do think the matchup is very, very even. There's a lot of nuance involved, and it's just a ton of fun. So I highly recommend all of you guys to go try that one out for yourselves. It was an absolute blast. So thanks to Chad for playing as always. And you guys make sure you leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. And please consider supporting me on Patreon, because that is where you can cast your votes for Matchup of the Month future episodes, as well as have access to a couple of other perks there. And most importantly, it helps support me for paying my editor, Darkblade, because free time is a little bit limited right now, and I do want to continue bringing you all this awesome unmatched content. So supporting me on Patreon definitely helps me to do that, and pay him to edit so that I can get all this stuff out there. I do have some big plans for some videos coming up. I would love to do some reviews for the new Tales to Amaze fighters, because they're all just so cool and so unique. They're awesome. So I'd love to show that off and give my thoughts about them. And most importantly, we did recently wrap up Summer of Legends 2023, which I did get another trophy from that one, so I am super excited for that. But what that means, obviously, is that there should be another tier list coming up. So I'm going to start working on that as soon as I finish up with this one, and I can't wait. It's going to be a blast. So I hope you all are excited for that. But yeah, I just appreciate all the support out there from all of you. You guys are the best. So I can't wait for the next episode and the next few videos. It's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it. So that's going to do it for this one, everybody. But thanks for watching. I'm ZeroSkater12, and I'll see you next time.